Hey, my name is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today I want to share with you the mid-year book freakout tag. To tell the truth, this is my third time filming this video. Every time I film it, I don't know, I just don't really like how it turned out, so I decided to film it through one more time, and third time's a charm, so hopefully this one will stick and I'll get this uploaded. Before I jump into the tag, I just want to go over a little bit of information about my reading so far this year. So far I've read 56 books. Of those books, I've read 38 graphic novels, 10 fantasy, 3 manga, 2 murder mystery, 2 middle grade, and 1 contemporary. I've read 10 ebooks, 2 audiobooks, and 44 physical books. So far, I've read a lot more books than I thought I would, which is really great, and I'm really excited to share a little bit about what I've read so far this year with you all today. So let's jump right into the tag. So the first question is best book so far this year. That one I gotta give to a graphic novel that I read that I really enjoyed a lot. That is This Was Our Pact by Ryan Andrews. So this year I kind of went through a phase where I read a lot of graphic novels, and of all the graphic novels I read, this one was one that really stood out to me and I really liked a lot. The story is so much more than what even the description on the back really can give, and it's such a great story of friendship, and there's this great adventure, and I really love the story. I love the art style. I like the colors that are used in this book. It's just such a great story, and I'm really excited that I got to read it this year. So the next question is best sequel that you've read so far this year, and that's going to go to The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. I read the first one in this series, A Curse for True Love, a couple months ago in the year, and I liked it okay, but it wasn't like one that I really enjoyed as much as I thought I would. And I almost didn't even pick this one up, but I really wanted something that I was just going to really get into and really want to read. And so I got it from the library, and it was not what I was expecting it to be. The beginning was a little bit slow, but as it picked up in the story, what happened in the story just it took me on a wild ride. It was such a great read. I really grew to like Evangeline, the main character, more, and Jax more than I thought I would, because in the first one I didn't really like Jax, and there's something about Jax that I'll talk about a little bit later, but I definitely really enjoyed the sequel a lot. Tea break. The next question in this tag is new release you haven't read but really want to. And that one I'm going to give to Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This one sounds really interesting. It involves 2 journalists that are rivals. There's a war going on. There are letters they're exchanging through magic, and it sounds like a really cool premise for a story, and I'm really excited to get to it this year. Hopefully I can get to it before the year is over. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. The first one I have to say is the 3rd book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, and that is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. The second book left on such a cliffhanger. I really want to get to this one as soon as it comes out. I believe it comes out in October. Pre-ordered it, so I'm really excited for it to come, and I really hope I really enjoy it, but I'm very excited for this one to come out later this year. The second one on this list is House of Roots and Ruin by Erin A. Craig, and this is the companion novel to House of Salt and Sorrows. This one comes out later this month, July 25th, I believe, and I'm really excited for this one to come out. I really loved A House of Salt and Sorrows when I read it a few years ago. The author has such great atmospheric writing, and I'm really intrigued about what this is going to be about. I think it follows one of the sisters, so I don't know which one it's gonna follow, but I'm really excited for it to be released. And I also pre-ordered it, so it'll be coming soon. And the third one is by a new author that I just heard of. I'm going to read on my phone. It's called Chase the Legend, a classic retold, and this is by Hannah Kay. And I just got to read the description on Goodreads to you because it just sounds so intriguing, and the premise sounds really cool. So I just want to read it really quick. The end of the map lies far behind you. Here there be dragons. The nation of Outer Malvia runs on the power of dragon oil. but only hunters and maps in are fearless or foolish enough to pursue the great beasts of the deep. In the wake of a broken engagement, Isla Starling boards the hunting vessel, relentless in search of the solace the sea promises her. But dragons are not the only threats that lurk in these uncharted waters. As first mate aboard Relentless, Isla becomes a key player in the possible quest, determined by our captain, Adam Chase. Once Maps ends Rising Star, Chase lost everything to an ill-fated encounter with the legendary white dragon that haunts the seas at the very edge of the world. Now the captain swears to avenge himself on the beast and restore all that was stolen from him. No matter what or who he may lose along the way. In this gaslight fantasy reimagining of Moby Dick, Hannah Kay spins a tale of hurt and healing, breathing hope into Herman Melville's timeless tragedy. So it's a retelling of Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I've never read Moby Dick, but it's one book that I've been wanting to read for a really long time. It's just so intimidating. But this one coming out, it sounds really cool. I love that it has dragons in it, which I never really thought could ever... I just think that's such a creative idea and a spin on the story. And I'm really excited to read it. I think it's going to be really good. The next question is biggest disappointment. And that one I'm going to give to The Dark Hills Divide by Patrick Kernan. So this was actually a reread for me. I read this a long time ago when I was younger. And I definitely think that it was made for a younger audience. I think that's why I remember really enjoying it. But this time around, it just wasn't as good as I remembered it being, which I'm really disappointed about because I was really excited to pick it up. I have the rest of the series and I really want to finish it, so hopefully I'll enjoy the other books as I read them. But I'm really disappointed that this one didn't really hit as much as I hoped it would. The next question is biggest surprise. I have 2 books for this question. The first one, of course, is This Was Our Pact. This one was such a surprise. From the very beginning, when I read the synopsis of what this was about, I never expected what was going to happen in the story. It just took you on such a wild ride, such a great adventure that I didn't realize was even going to happen. And I'm really so happy that I read it. I definitely recommend this book a lot if you haven't read it yet. It's really good. The second book for this answer is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This one I had started actually a couple months ago or so, or when I first got it, which was like maybe last year. And it was okay. I couldn't really get into it. But then I ended up choosing it for the 48-hour Star Hop Readathon. That's Stephanie at Stephanie's Bookverse hosts. And so this was one of the choices I got. And I honestly was a little bit disappointed because I was like, well, first of all, it's really long. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. I'm not really into this one. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it during the readathon, but I continued reading it after the readathon was over. And it actually was so much better than I thought it would be. I really liked the main character, Sophie. I liked her adventure. She went on discovering more about who she really is and the friends that she makes and the adventure she goes on. And I'm excited to continue the series. I actually have a few more of the books, so I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I'm really excited that I finally had a motivation to pick it up, and yeah, I really liked it a lot. The next question is fave author, debut, or new to you? And for this one I have 2 answers. The first one again is Shannon Messenger. I really love this story. I love her writing style, and I'm excited to continue reading more of her work. And then the second one would have to be Holly Jackson. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder this year, and I really enjoyed the mystery aspect of it. I really liked the main character, Pip, and I really liked her friend in the story that helps her try to solve the mystery. And this book definitely was a surprise to me. There's something that happens in the book that I was like really mad about. And yeah, if you read this book, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I was not prepared for that at all, but I really love Holly Jackson's writing, and I'm excited to continue reading the series, and I'm excited that this series is actually going to be made into a show by the BBC. I really like Holly Jackson, and I'm excited to read more of her work. This question is fave new crush. So this question, I don't really get a lot of crushes on fictional characters, at least not as much as I used to when I was younger. But I think there's 2 characters that I definitely have crushes on, or somewhat crush on. The first one would have to be the Lord Sorcerer from Half a Soul I really liked his character. I liked his interaction with our main character, Theodora. And I like their progression and their relationship. And I just think he's such a great character because he kind of starts off kind of mean and not very nice towards her. But then he starts warming up to her and he becomes someone that she can really rely on and really trust. And I like what his whole purpose in the story is, what he's trying to do. And so I definitely think that he is definitely crush worthy. And then the second one I'm going to give to Jax, especially in the Ballad of Never After. See, Jax is such an interesting character because there's like so much more to him than you can really even see. Like he puts off such a cold front, but you know there's something more to him, and this book definitely showed it at the end, especially. Well, that's when it really showed it. It was at the end. Something that happens in the story and his reaction and what he does really kind of changed my perspective of him. I definitely don't think he's like the best character I ever crush on, because he definitely has some really dark sides to him. But I definitely think that this last part of the book really redeemed him in my eyes, and I'm excited to read more in the third book. I think it's actually going to be dual POVs. I hope it is, because it would be really nice to read in Jack's point of view to get a better understanding of who he is, because I definitely think he's a very complex character. There's more to him than he really shows. I hope the third one is going to show more of his character and just redeem him a little bit more to me. The next question is new fave character, and I have two for this question again. The first is Sophie from Keeper of the Lost Cities. I really love her character arc. I like that. You know, she has to make a really difficult decision. She's selfless, and I really like that about her. And I'm really excited to get to know her better as the books progress, because I think she's going to become even more, as she grows up and matures, she'll become an even more stronger character, and I really like her a lot. And then the second character is from This Was Our Pact, and I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to say he is the fish bear. You have to read the story to know more about him, because he's such a great character. I really love him. The next question is book that made you cry. This one I'm actually going to, so first I'll talk about the book that made me cry, and then I want to talk about a book that made me angry, because I have a lot to say. The one that made me cry is The Keeper of the Lost Cities. I wasn't expecting to cry during this book, but if you know what happens in the story, there's something that happens that's just really, it just made me cry, and I really loved it. I really liked the story a lot. Okay, so, book that made me angry was Gilded by Marissa Meyer. This book, I started reading it last year, I want to say. I think it was last year. And I was enjoying it alright. There's some stuff that happened in it that I wasn't really that excited about. Some gross things that happened. This is going to be spoilerly. I'll just put spoiler, and when the spoiler sign goes away, you can listen. But the villain is the elder, I forget what he's called. He's Faye. And he does this terrible thing to the kids that the main character loves. And just the fact that he did that to them, and then he coerces her or blackmails her, or not even blackmails her, but like gets her to agree to marry him and pretend that the child she's carrying is his. And then it just made me so angry. I had to stop reading this story because I was so mad. I could not handle how mad I was at this guy, because he is a villain. Like, there's no redeeming qualities of him. I don't know if Marissa Meyer is going to try to have some redeeming qualities in the next book, but I'm mad because this book just made me so angry. He made me so angry, and I was like, I gotta finish it because I have to know what's going to happen. And now I'm even more angry because I have to read the second book because I need to know what's going to happen. It just made me so mad. Oh my word, this story. But I mean, I think that really shows the strength of an author, that they can write a villain that's so dislikable. But man, I try not to hate. Like, I don't like to hate people. I don't like to hate things. But if I'm gonna hate something, I will hate that character because he's just so terrible. He's so awful. It makes me so angry. Okay, done with my rant. Next question is book that made you happy, and that one I'm going to give to a reread, and that is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. In this story, I read it several times. I really love it a lot. I love the characters, love the ending, and it just makes me happy when I read it. It's set in the fall time, which I love the fall. And then the pumpkin patch that they work at just sounds like an amazing place I would love to go to in real life. But yeah, I really think this one makes me very happy when I read it, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I'll probably read it again this year during fall because I read it during this beginning of the year. But it definitely puts a smile on my face. Next question is most beautiful book you bought this year. And this one I have two answers again. First one would have to go to The Ballad of Never After. I got the UK hardback. I found out that they were releasing the paperback in the UK. And once the UK paperbacks come out, they always discontinue the hardback. So I was like, I gotta buy this before it's out of stock. So I'm glad I got it. I think this one is definitely more, I like it more than the US cover. And then the second book I'm also gonna mention is the UK edition of Babel. This is another one that I've been wanting to own. I started reading Babel last year. I haven't finished it. So I was like, I'm going to buy it and then I'm going to annotate it and read it. And of course, I haven't read it yet. But I definitely really am excited to get this edition of the book. I like the name in the middle. And I like the spine is really cool. And even on the back, there's a picture of the tower and a little blurb or quote from the story. I'm definitely glad I added this to my collection this year. The last question in this tag is, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? So I have a few for this one. First of all, for the new releases that are coming out, House of Roots and Ruin and A Curse for True Love. Those are top ones I really want to read. Another one that I'm always putting on, that's been on my TBR for a very long time, that I'm always wanting to read every year, but unfortunately never get to, or never finish. That is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I'm actually on page 246, so I mean, I still have a lot more to go. I do really enjoy this one, but for some reason, I just never had the urge to pick it up. And I really want to read it. Like, I want to get into this world because it's so beloved, and there's so many people that really like it a lot. They really love this story, really love Brandon Sanderson's writing and his storytelling. So hopefully I'll get to this. I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath because I really doubt I'll ever get to this one and finish it this year. But that's definitely a goal of mine that I'll have every single year until I actually finish this brick of a book. And then I also have some reading challenges that I put for myself to do this year. The first one I have is the A to Z challenge. The first letter of the title starts with a letter of the alphabet. You'll put that book by it. And so far I have pretty much all of them filled in except for some of them. But there are some that are really hard to find titles with that letter, that begin with that letter. So I might look into reading books that are by different authors. I put the author's name there. And then the last one I'm doing is 23 books in 2023. So far I've only read, well, technically I've read more than one, but I only put one cover on, and that's for The Girl from the Other Side on this list. And I have so much more that I have not got to. There's one I know that I'm going to DNF. Pretty sure I'm going to DNF it. But there's a lot more that I need to get to, and it's already the half the year is already gone. Really behind on this list. So hopefully I can get to these before the year is over. But if not, it's not the end of the world. I'll be fine. And that's the mid-year book freakout tag. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and taking the time to watch. Let me know, what is your favorite book so far this year down in the comments, because I'd love to know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.